So on November 22nd, 1963, catastrophe struck our nation. John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, was shot and killed by a lone gunman in Dallas, Texas. Now, according to Gallup polls, 70 to 80% of Americans today believe that Kennedy was killed by way of conspiracy, not by a lone gunman, which is the official report. But having read numerous books on the subject and having visited the site myself, these are just the cold hard facts of that day. So Kennedy was traveling to Texas, at first to mend a rift in the Democratic Party that was feuding down there, but it was also the first step in his re-election campaign for 1964. Lyndon B. Johnson was his vice president and was from Texas, but he had barely won the state in 1960 and figured that he would probably need to win it again in 1964, so unofficially this was the first stop on his re-election campaign for 1964. So Air Force One touched down in left field outside Dallas at around 11:38 a.m. on Friday. Kennedy was traveling with his wife Jackie. They had made a short fly over from Fort Worth where they had been the day before and the night before. They exited and went over to greet the hundreds of onlookers that had awaited to see the president arrive. The president, after greeting that, then entered a 1961 Lincoln convertible with an open top with his wife Jackie, Texas Governor John Connally, and his wife Nellie, and they prepared for about a 35 to 45 minute drive through downtown Dallas, ending up at the Dallas Trade Mart where Kennedy would be speaking at a luncheon with fellow businessmen in Dallas. So the Secret Service was a little worried about the trip to Texas. Dallas, especially Dallas was an ever-growing conservative city, and the Democrat Kennedy was not particularly liked there. But as the motorcade was making its way through downtown Dallas, thousands upon thousands of people filled the sidewalks, spilled into the streets, and hung outside of the surrounding skyscrapers to get a look at the leader of the free world. As the crowds thinned down towards the end of the motorcade route, the car was on Main Street, took a short right turn onto Houston Street where it traveled for 1 block, and then made a very sharp left turn on to Elm Street where it would travel to exit onto the Stemmons Freeway that would lead to the Dallas Trade Mart. The Texas School Book Depository building sits at the corner of Houston and Elm Street. So I'll be showing the Zapruder film, which is the only actual video of the entire shooting as it happens. So the president is sitting in the third row of seats, which is the back next to his wife. The governor is sitting in front and slightly inward of the president, and his wife is also next to him. So as the car is making its way down, both the president and the governor right there turn from their left to their right. Connally and Kennedy were both World War II veterans, and Connally afterwards said he instantly heard the sound of a high-powered rifle. Most people who heard the sound thought it was just fireworks shooting off, but he immediately, so they both turned from their left to the right, immediately hearing the first shot, which according to the Warren Commission, which is the investigative committee on the assassination, said missed everybody. Kennedy then waves to the crowd. The car goes behind the sign, and as it exits from the sign, Kennedy puts his hands up to his throat, and the governor reacts immediately also. So according to the autopsy, this bullet entered Kennedy in his back, exited out of his throat, continued traveling downward, entered Connally right underneath his right armpit, traveled through him, exited underneath his right nipple, and then lodged into his wrist where surgery would have to take it out later. So the governor ends up falling back into the lap of his wife, but Kennedy is shown upward as Jackie talks to him. This was because the president had suffered a severe back injury during World War II in the Pacific and was forced to wear a back brace that kept him upright, and so he could not fall over, which would end up in frame 313. The third shot is the kill shot that enters Kennedy in the back of his right side of his head, shattering his brain, his scalp, and his skull, which would be killing him instantly. Now this video is in slow motion, so you won't see the whole thing, but the car then speeds up, enters onto the freeway, drives right past the Dallas Trade Mart where he was scheduled to speak, and goes to Parkland Memorial Hospital where just 30 minutes after the shooting at 1 p.m. Kennedy was pronounced dead, and the world was announced that he was dead at about 1:30 p.m. About an hour after the world found out he was dead, Lyndon B. Johnson aboard Air Force One took the oath of office to become the 36th President of the United States, with Jackie Kennedy standing right next to him, still in her same suit, soaked in her husband's blood, watched on. So as I said, this is a result of many conspiracy theories regarding the shooting, because the man arrested for the shooting, Lee Harvey Oswald, was shot and killed just 2 days after the shooting when he was arrested by Jack Ruby in transport from the city jail to the county jail, which led to numerous conspiracy theories. According to former LA District Attorney Vincent Bugliosi and Kennedy expert, 42 groups, 82 assassins, and 214 people have been associated with the assassination at some point in their lives. But the facts are mainly this, that on that Friday morning, 2 children lost their father, a wife lost her husband, and a nation lost its president.